Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. Welcome back to a moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. In the Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, today we're thrilled to sit down with actress Camille Guaty. She's known for her versatile performances across TV and film, and she's recently starred in HBO's highly anticipated series, Duster, created by J.J. Abrams, where she portrays a fierce truck driver navigating the challenges of single motherhood and fighting for women's equality in the 1970s. She also brings magic to the big screen in Harold and the Purple Crayon. Beyond her impressive career, her personal story is one of resilience and hope. After a 4-year journey through IVF treatments, she welcomed her son in 2019 through donor conception. Camille now advocates passionately for fertility awareness, sharing her own journey to empower others facing similar challenges. Today, she's going to join me to talk about her path to motherhood, her career, and her ongoing mission to bring light to women's health issues. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So excited to dive right into this deep conversation and creative one too, because you embody so much. So let's dive in. So studies show that around 10 to 15% of couples in the United States experience infertility, and this translates into millions of people navigating a complex, emotionally charged path to parenthood. Now, you've been so candid about your 5 rounds of IVF and IUI. It's remarkable and rare to hear such openness. Can you tell us about what inspired you to share your journey with the world and how it shaped your outlook on motherhood?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, I was, a woman who was so dedicated to my career. And I always put family on the back burner, even though I knew the importance of that. But I didn't think I was ever going to have a problem. No gynecologist, nobody ever said, hey, you should be thinking about becoming a mother or freezing your eggs or anything to preserve my fertility. Nobody talked about it. And I always thought, I'm just going to say it. I'm Latin. I'm like, hey, maybe I'm not going to have a problem. Like, we have babies all the time. And when I decided that it was time, I slowly but surely realized that, wow, 1 year of trying did not amount to any pregnancies. And then that brought us to an IVF clinic that said, your insides don't match your outsides. Your insides are that of a 50-year-old. And I was 38 at the time. So 38 is late in the game, I think. But that really took me by surprise. And I was like, because no one had ever said anything by this point. So we did our first IVF, second IVF, third, fourth, fifth, IUI, everything. We had 21 embryos that we ended up transferring all in all. And then we even had a 6th cycle that we canceled because I had nothing to work with. And all of that, when I finally got pregnant through donor conception, I remember People magazine wanted to announce my pregnancy. They had no idea. They were like, oh, they just want to, blah, you're pregnant. And I just sat there and I was like, wow, I know I don't have to tell anybody what I went through. But what a disservice that would be to all the women out there to say that I'm pregnant and not say how it happened,
Wow.
because nobody told me. And also the fact that it would be such a shame on my journey as
That
well.
is so true. You just said it. The shame that you would feel about this proud journey with leaving important information
Yeah,
at bay is doing a huge disservice to women because all they see is this picture perfect cover. So you're an inspiration. Your courage to speak out shines a light on something many still struggle to talk about. Now, when it comes to alternative paths to motherhood, such as egg donation, many women struggle with fears of not feeling connected to their child, if you will. And according to recent studies, this is a very common concern among families who consider this option. You mentioned feeling hesitant about this yourself at first. So how did you overcome those feelings, and what advice would you offer other mothers to be, that are grappling with similar emotions?
This was a very hard decision for me. I think there's a lot of responsibility that comes with this decision, and that's one. It's looking at all of those responsibilities and really getting your mind around that and knowing that you can handle that.
Right.
Two, you have to grieve. If this is a if this is a decision that if you guys are on the precipice of making this decision to use donor conception, you do have to grieve the loss. Like, how many times did I have a vision of what my baby was going to look like? And I mean, selfishly, it was a little me. It was like, a little, that was my baby. That's who I thought I was going to have every single time there was a failed pregnancy. So when that doesn't happen after 5 years of trying 21 embryos transferred, then you have to mourn that loss. And then you get to go to a place of gratitude, right? Then you go to this place of, wow, this woman is not why am I jealous of her? She's actually a gift, and I get chills when I say this because I was so afraid of this woman. I was I thought my husband was gonna be into her and not me because she's doing the thing that I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm broken and I'm damaged goods and she's not. She's young and she's vital and, it has all of these things that I don't have, and she's giving my husband a baby. This is how I viewed it. Like, I have no part in this. And when I shifted my lens to gratitude and I was like, wow, this woman is giving me the gift of motherhood. This woman is giving me this gift of being able, because my body was able to carry. So she's giving me that ability to be able to do that, to experience carrying my son in my belly and nurturing him for 9 months and giving birth to him. Like, I would never have been able to experience that if I just said, no, I don't want to do this. Now, this isn't for everybody, I understand, but for me, I am so grateful that I made that choice.
Well, you brought such emotions to this conversation. I teared up for a little bit, but thank you for that honesty, Camille. It's so
Or
powerful for people to hear this from someone who's been through it, and as on the receiving end, as a mother.
mm,
You are so brave. You are so brave. Now, I'm going to pivot back to some statistics as I go through this one in the next couple of questions, but I want to talk about your son. In 2019, your son, Morrison Raphael, was born, finally bringing your dream to life. So this must have been a whirlwind of emotions. And studies highlight the intense joy parents feel after long fertility journeys. Yet there's often a lingering sense of anxiety. So can you describe what that moment was like for you and how your perspective on motherhood has now shifted since his birth?
well, I have to say for me, because everyone has a different pregnancy, right? I was one of the happiest pregnant women, even though I did have some issues in my pregnancy as well. But I was just so elated to finally see my belly growing, because every time I walked down the street and couldn't get pregnant and I saw a pregnant belly, that was like a trigger for me. So to be able to have that myself was just, I was filled with so much joy. So then when giving birth, when I first laid eyes on this little man, I just, it's almost a shock, right? And I know, and I said this, I was speaking to a woman yesterday and I said this to her. I said all of the sadness, and I'm not going to say fear because there's still your fears from using a donor egg still carry. But all of the sadness and all of the hardship and all of those miscarriages or, no pregnancies from the transfers, all of that goes away. She goes, really? I said, 100%. I couldn't even connect to the sadness. I couldn't connect.
Oh, this warms my heart. It warms my heart. You know why? Because he looks like you.
You think so? Oh, good.
Yes, he looks like you. And this is where nurture over nature really comes into play. That's a different interview. But when
Yeah.
we look, he does. And in recent years, celebrities sharing their infertility journeys have raised incredible awareness about this very topic. And studies show that nearly half of Americans see value in public figures like yourself
Yes.
normalizing infertility discussions. So you've become part of this movement in a beautiful way. How does it feel to know that your story is helping others feel less alone?
Well, I mean, it's pretty amazing. I said this in with the intention of helping others, of raising awareness for fertility for women, and to know that you have power and decision making earlier on, and to now know that I have reached so many people and have helped so many people. But at the same time, I have to say that speaking out has healed me, and talking to people about my story and hearing their story and finding the similarities, and just navigating it together has 100% healed me, and it normalizes it as well. It's I speak also for the future of my son, and to take away the stigma that donor conception had for me, that I know it has for others. So the more I talk about it, the more it normalizes, and it normalizes his future, you know? So
It's beautiful. What you're doing is revolutionary. You're giving a voice to so many women who may have not had one. And we often focus on the journey of the mother, but partners, right, are so integral in this process. So your husband, Sai, is that his name?
mhm.
He stood by your side through it all. And I imagine that that bond only strengthened over the years. So, how did you both work through the challenges as a team? And what advice do you have for couples who may find themselves in these similar situations?
Yeah, great question. I think this journey can feel very isolating, and it can feel like it's just happening to, depends if it's happening to the woman or the man, because it does happen to, it's almost 50-50. We just don't hear about it. But it does feel very isolating, and it feels like there's only one person in the partnership that it's happening to. But I will never forget what my husband said one day when I was on the depths of despair crying. He said, this is not just happening to you, this is happening to us. And he goes, I didn't envision us having a baby this other way, right? I envisioned having a baby this way, and so did you. He's like, so we are transitioning into another process together. And just hearing him say that it wasn't just happening to me, even though that's how I felt, that it was happening to both of us, really brought me closer to him, because I went through all sorts of stuff where I was mad at him for nothing. I was just mad at him because why not? Uh,
Right.
and also we spoke to a therapist together, and we hashed it out, and I hashed out every single ounce of my fears. Everything was laid out on the table. This is, if I don't connect to this child, then I can leave. If, truthful, horrible things that I thought, but valid for me at the time. I mean, I thought, well, he's going to be your child more than mine, so I'll just walk away if I don't have a connection. And I truly felt that way. And I truly felt so many things, but we worked through it
Yeah.
together.
And I believe therapy is critical and crucial to have that
Percent.
third voice, the voice of reason when everything is blurry or cloudy in your life or in your relationship, right? That therapist could guide you out of that darkness. I'm
Yes.
going to shift to the name Morris and Raphael because I want to be mindful of the time. So, the name Morris and Raphael is so beautiful and meaningful, honoring both your father and Sai's grandfather. Could you share what these names mean to you personally, and how do you hope they shape Morrison's identity?
It's so funny. He asked me yesterday, Mommy, why did you name me Morrison? And I was like, oh, I'm like, do you not know the story? And he's like, I just want to hear it again. I said, okay. So I think originally we wanted Sonny. Sonny was going to be his name. And a lot of my friends still call him Sonny because when I was pregnant, they were like, little baby Sonny. And we loved his grandfather, who was Papa Mo. Maury was his name. And so one day I just saw there was like a burger shop in LA and it said Morrison's. And I said, oh, that's like Maury and Sonny kind of together. It's Maury's son, Morrison. I'm like, Morrison. And I brought it to my husband and I was like, what do you think about Morrison? He goes, I love it. I love it. So that's how Morrison came into play. And then another person that we respect so much is my father. And I wanted to carry a Spanish, even though Rafael can be many different ethnicities, but I wanted it to come from the Cuban side. And so that's how Rafael came in, and to honor my dad. So Morrison Rafael.
What a powerful name with so much heart. So fitting for the Hydration with Heart segment. Now, beyond your acting career, you've been committed to philanthropic work, including your involvement with foster care initiatives. Data shows that over 400,000 children are in foster care right here in the US, with a tremendous need for resources and support. How did you become passionate about this cause, and how can others contribute to making a difference with you?
Well, it actually came from my anger of not being able to get pregnant, of battling infertility. And when we got to the point of where I knew that my eggs were not viable anymore, and my husband was really wanting me to do donor conception, I said, no. I said, I want even playing field. I want, if we can't use if we can't use my eggs, we're not using your sperm. And I was hell bent. So I was like, I'm just going to start researching adoption. And I started going down the rabbit hole of foster to adopt and seeing all of these children that needed homes. I mean, talk about, I bawled my eyes out when I started looking. And then I connected with the foster agency in Los Angeles and became really close with one of the women there. And it was Christmas time, and I just started working with her with another friend and helping all of these children. And then through that, we started an organization called Foster a Dream. And I was for sure that this is how we were going to have our first, was going to be through the foster system. And then my heart had softened and I said, you know what, let's try. But you know what, let's try the donor. But I have 21 of my own embryos transferred and not one took. We ended up only having one donor egg. That's it. One egg that fertilized and ended up being Morrison. But I remember our large event for the foster system, one of our largest events that we had, and that one embryo took. And here I was pregnant with like thousands of foster kids too. Just there was such a beautiful, it was so beautiful for me to be working with all of these kids and with the foster system in Los Angeles, and to be pregnant and knowing our second one, by the way, is going to come from the foster system. Now that I'm here in Nashville, I'm like, I just got a contact. So this is,
Congratulations, you're adopting.
yeah, I mean, eventually, I think
Yes.
not this year, maybe it'll happen pretty soon.
We're
So
manifesting, it will happen.
we are manifesting. That's right.
Wow. Well, we are almost at the end here. That's an incredible, incredible full circle story. Your heart is as big as your talent. Thank you for leading by example. So many people today face silent struggles, especially with fertility or the road to parenthood. We have nearly 1/3 of Americans that believe fertility challenges are too rarely discussed, but they impact millions of people. So you are doing an amazing job, my dear. Now, I would be remiss not to mention hydration. Extremely critical, whether you're in IVF treatments or trying to conceive, or a working actress or a working mama. Are you a fan of coconut water? And how has it become part of your routine I want to know, more importantly, what benefits do you feel it brings to your health and energy as you juggle motherhood and career?
I absolutely love coconut water, and so does my little one. For him especially, because for kids, they always forget to drink, right? So if they're going to take a sip of something once, twice, three times in a day, give them coconut water because it'll replenish everything for them in 2.2 seconds.
You are resilient and you are full of heart. I thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
To follow Camille's journey and get more inspiration, you can find her on social media at Camille Guaty. And thank you to Once Upon a Coconut for bringing us this heartfelt hydration with heart segment. To all our listeners, remember, no matter the journey, you're not alone. Until next time, you're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut.
Discover the refreshing taste of 100% pure coconut water that actually tastes great. Naturally sweet with no artificial flavors or added sugar. It's packed with electrolytes to keep you hydrated throughout your day. And with 10% of profits going to charity, every sip makes a difference. Pure taste, pure goodness. Experience nature's Gatorade. Visit Once Upon a Coconut or naturesgatorade.com.